You're listening to Cash and Sass. I'm Lisa Marie, your go-to gal for all things money. As the Sassy Wealth Queen and the brains behind the Sassy Wealth Coach, I'm here to take you on a thrilling ride from the financial chaos to sassy and sexy money.
Welcome back, my sassy friend, to another episode of Cash and Sass. I'm Lisa Marie, the brains behind the Sassy Wealth Coach and this podcast. And I am excited because today with me, I have Pericles Rellas, and he is a money mindset expert and helps people create a healthy relationship with money and themselves by creating a powerful money mindset so that they can live lives of joy and fulfillment, which I absolutely love. And so we all know what we're going to start doing. We're going to talk about money, and we're going to do it a little bit different as far as this. You've, in your stuff that you filled out, it piqued my interest totally on this financial thermostat. And I would love for you to tell us, one, a little bit about you and your journey with money, but then I want to dive into what this financial thermostat is.
Lisa Marie, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. It's great to be on with you to have this conversation. So a little bit about me is about 30 years ago, I started working with clients as a business coach. My commitment was to help people make more money, be more successful in life in general. So I started working with my clients, and they were doing just that. They were making more money, which was awesome. But what I noticed was after a period of 2 or 3 months where they were making a lot more money, their financial situation remained the same. So if they were somebody that was just kind of treading water at the end of every month, that's exactly where they still were. If there was somebody that was behind every month, they were still there. There was someone that had stress and anxiety around money. They were still there. And it literally didn't make any sense to me. How could that be? If you were making more money by thousands of dollars every single month, how could you still be in the same situation? So I decided to really take a deep dive look into what was going on here, because I knew there had to be something distinct happening. And so over the next couple of years, I really focused on it. I explored it. I examined it, and I noticed 2 things. Number one, every one of us has a financial thermostat, and our financial thermostat determines how much money we can earn, how much money we can keep, as well as our thoughts, feelings, and emotions around money. And then the second thing were the 4 keys to actually resetting our financial thermostat. So I started implementing these distinctions with my clients, and the results were extraordinary. They just started not only making more money, but suddenly they were able to keep more money. They were able to have more money, get ahead of the flow of money, as I like to say. And they had an experience of fulfillment around money and in their lives as well. So that's how I got to be where I am today. And for the last 25 years, that's been my focus as a money mindset expert.
So explain this financial thermostat. Like, I'm assuming that you came up with this name as far as what you were noticing. So
Yeah.
how does someone figure out what their financial thermostat setting is?
Yeah. Well, I use the distinction thermostat because we've all experienced working with a thermostat. We know what it is. We've got one in our homes. We set it at a certain temperature, and its only job is to keep the room at that temperature. So if it's set at 72 and it's 100 degrees outside and that hot air comes into the house, it kicks on the AC and it brings the temperature back down to 72, and the inverse is true as well. And so I used it because I think most people can relate to it, and it's way easier to understand than money mindset. What does that mean? So our financial thermostats are determined from our decades and decades of life experience. And we don't realize that we've had it at a certain setting. We just live life. It's kind of working in the background. It's one of the reasons that lotto winners go broke within such a short period of time. We see these people, they make an extraordinary amount of money by winning the lotto, but within 5 years, they're bankrupt. Well, how is that possible? Well, their financial thermostats were not set to manage that amount of money. So just like the thermostat in our house, that all that great money flows in, but the thermostat isn't set for it. So it just starts having us disappear money and disappear money and disappear money until it's all gone. Some of your clients may very well have had that experience. Some of the people listening may have had that experience where like, I don't understand. Money comes in, but it just disappears. Or I don't understand. I want to make more money, but I can't break through this glass ceiling. Or no matter how much money I make, I'm always miserable. I just need more. I need more. I need more. That's a function of your financial thermostat. So if you want to know what your financial thermostat setting is, look around. What is life like for you around money right now? Are you limited in how much you can earn? Are you limited in how much you can keep? Are you someone that as soon as it comes in, something just shows up and that money goes out the door again? That is your financial thermostat. That is not a fluke. That is not bad luck. That is the function of your financial thermostat setting.
Yeah, so I actually think it's everything I've been saying. I just never called it a thermostat. M- It's basically what's been ingrained into us from before we were old enough to know any difference when it comes to money. Because I tell people all the time, you can even go back 7 generations of how we look at money, how we think about money, how we talk about money. And so, this financial thermostat, which I absolutely love that term, that thermostat is it's set and we don't even realize where it's set until we're like, oh wait, why is it I'm always broke? Why is it every time I come into money? And you're saying that and I'm thinking back on my journey and I'm like, holy crap, now I know what my thermostat was set at. It was not set at what it should have been set at all these years ago because I was raised that we're never going to have money. It was work. It was basically rinse, repeat, work, pay bills, work, pay bills. There was never going to have the money to do the things. And so anytime any type of money came in, something would always happen. Something would
Yep.
break. Something would always happen. And, or I would decide, oh, you know what? I've got all this money. I'm going to do this. And then the next thing I know, I'd find, oh, wait, why did I do that? Now I'm broke.
Mm.
And it was because I wasn't managing it and I wasn't doing the things that I could do with it. But again, it makes sense because it I say it was the mindset, but having that financial thermostat, which is your mindset, is
Yes.
is why. So I have a question, and I think that a lot of the listeners will want to know. Say, okay, fine and dandy. How do I reset this financial thermostat? I want to make more money. I have my own business. I'm doing the things. I've done the mindset work, right? I've had so many people tell me this and I'm like, "Nah, but have you really 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 like done it? And then have you also tweaked the management when you did it?" Because
Right.
they go hand in hand. um
Right.
so how can they reset that financial thermostat?
You're absolutely spot on. This is the number one question that people have. What do I do? Now, the second thing I discovered when I was working with my clients many years ago was the 4 keys to resetting our financial thermostat. I can't give all 4 of them here. We just don't have enough time. That I've provided in a free masterclass. So people can watch that anytime they want. But I'm going to give you one of the foundational things that I think will free some people up and give them some real power around this. Because many people I speak to, they say, well, I know how to manifest. I've done all the videos. I work on manifesting. I feel it. I'm trying to shift. But what they're missing is the foundation. And the foundation is that financial thermostat setting. So it's money flows in a very distinct way. It's a currency. And like any current, it flows like a current, like electricity or water or wind. But it flows in a distinct way in that it flows in a circle.
Mm-hmm.
And we intersect that circle. So money flows to us, through us, and away from us, and then back
Mm-hmm.
around to us, through us, and away from us with a reservoir on the side that we get to keep. Now, because money flows in a circle, blocks anywhere in that flow are blocks everywhere in that flow. Now, what do blocks look like? Blocks in the flow of money coming to us look like, and this is just a very small sampling, money's the root of all evil. You have to work hard to make money. We're never going to have a lot of money. The wealthy are bad. I never want to
Money
be wealthy
doesn't
because
grow on trees.
money doesn't grow on trees. It's always something. You'd said that before. It's always something that shows up, right? These are all blocks in the flow of money coming to us. Blocks in the flow of money going away from us are things like, I don't want to pay my bills on time. I hate paying people on time. I don't want to spend money at all. We're trying to hold on to it. I hate paying taxes. This is one of the biggest ones. I hate paying taxes. Well, if you hate paying taxes, great. You're never going to make any money because paying taxes means you're earning more money. So we want to go in and we want to clear these blocks out. And there's a very simple 3-step process that I've created to clear any block in the flow of money. So let's look at a block in the flow of money. For me, it was when I was 6 years old, watching a show on TV with my family. I'm going to date myself here. It's called Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. You may remember
I know
it or
that
have
show.
heard of it,
Yeah,
right?
I do.
Yeah.
I'm 51, so I'm 51,
okay,
so
there you
I
go.
totally know that.
Yes. And we used to watch the show, and it was so much fun to watch these wealthy families and people. But in this particular episode, it showed they were so wealthy, but their lives were a disaster. Their family was completely broken. And I remember at the end of this episode, my mom said, very casually, nonchalantly, I never want to have that much money. You will lose your whole family. And that 6-year-old
And that was
boy
a
in
block.
that moment set my block, put that block in place, which created the setting of my financial thermostat. You can only earn so much money. I didn't want to lose my family. I loved my family. So I had this glass ceiling or this financial thermostat setting of how much money I could make. And I remember for years, no matter how hard I worked, I could not get to that next level. Something always happened where it got sabotaged. Now, what I didn't know was that it was me. It was my financial thermostat bringing me down to that level of how much money I could make. When I created this education and I applied it to my own life, suddenly I saw it and I applied this 3-step process that allowed me to break through that financial thermostat or break through that ceiling. So here's what you do. The first thing is you have to notice it. You have to notice what the conversation is and own it. So I had to notice, wow, I've had this conversation for decades of I never want to have that much money because if I do, I'll lose my whole family. Okay, I can own that. That's mine. That's been mine for a long time. Number one, we own the conversation. The second step is we then need to let go of it. This is why manifesting doesn't work for a lot of your listeners. It's because we're operating on top of this block. We can't operate on top of the block. We've got to let go of the block, which is why we got to notice it. And now we have to declare out loud, I release that block. I let go of that block. I hand it over to the care of God, the universe, the trees, the ocean. I don't care what you hand it to, but you've got to let it go into something else that's bigger than you. I release it. It no longer has space in my realm. It no longer occupies space in my psyche. It is no longer has any dominion over my life. And you say it and you say it and you say it until you kind of feel this little sense of relief. It doesn't have to be full, but it has to be just some, okay, I can kind of feel it moving away from me. And then in that moment is when you take the third step, where you create what your relationship to money newly is right now. Money flows to me freely and abundantly every single day. It wants to be simple and clean, and it needs to inspire you. And it can be whatever it is for you. Don't make the mistake of writing a 5-page thesis on this. No, it's literally 4 or 5 words. 2, even 3 are fine. Money flows to me easily and abundantly. Money loves to come into my life. I am a money magnet, whatever it is for you. And then you write it down and you have it present for yourself everywhere you are. You put it on your nightstand. You put it on your mirror in the bathroom. You put it on your computer screen. You put it on your rearview mirror. And you keep reminding yourself of what that new relationship to money is. Now, that old relationship will never go away. That old conversation will always be there. But the more you empower this new conversation and continue to let go of that old conversation, the more the new conversation will become the predominant conversation in your life. And that old conversation will get quieter and quieter and quieter and less frequent. And you will then experience a life of money flows freely and abundantly to me every single day.
Yeah, okay. There's a couple of things I want to speak on.
Yes.
The first one is, y'all, did you hear what he said about taxes? Because, hello, I have been preaching this for the last 8 years, and I will be preaching it till the day I die. Stop complaining about having to pay taxes when you own a business. If you pay taxes, it means your business was profitable, period. If you don't owe any money in taxes and you own a business, then your business wasn't profitable. And for the love of God and everything in between, you do not want to have a non-profitable business unless it's a non-profit. Okay?
Right.
Like,
Let me throw in one caveat there too, Lisa Marie, because you're absolutely spot on. That doesn't mean that you don't take advantage of legal tax
absolutely.
laws and legal tax
Absolutely.
deductions. You do everything you can within the limits of the law to pay as little as you need to pay. Don't be silly or
Absolutely.
stupid about it. No, I'm just
God.
not going to do. No, absolutely. That's what we're here. That's what we're supposed to do. But don't resent paying that tax bill. Don't resent paying your mortgage or paying your car bill or paying your rent. Those are all things. Those are not blocks in the flow of money going away from you. If you resent paying for your mortgage, that means you resent the house that you live in, the roof over your head. So there are little things where we can get tripped up, but you're spot on with that. Paying taxes,
Yes.
the more you pay, the more you've made, and we want to celebrate that.
Absolutely. And yes, take advantage of those tax deductions, all the legal ways that you can reduce that tax. Please do. I do. I have a tax advisor just for that. Okay. I'm not giving the government any more money than I need to, period. So, and I also don't complain about the money that I pay, because I actually say thank you, because I teach my clients, and I've said this before, when you say thank you, you're saying gratitude, and you're saying thank you for having the money, thank you for me being able to have my business, to be able to have this money, make this money, and pay these taxes. And you're just telling the universe, yes, bring me more.
Mhm.
The second thing, the way we see money now, and how you said letting go of it, which is, I've said this too. I tell people all the time, you can lie to me, you can lie to whoever, but you can't lie to yourself. You have to own it. You have to be honest with yourself where you're at in that. I call it a relationship with your money. Where you're at, excuse me, in that moment. And yes, that and you said a key thing is that old conversation isn't going to go away. And I really want people to make sure they're listening and paying attention, because so often we think that when we have this, we let go of it and we say, money abundantly flows to me every single day. Money loves me. We think, okay, that's our new conversation. We're golden. That old conversation, and he said it, will get quieter, but he did not say it would not come back. It's there. It's not going away permanently. Hello, I've been doing this for years, and every time I up level, anytime that conversation pops up, it's not quite as loud as it used to be, and every once in a while it can get louder. And I hear you. That's not how we're doing this. This is how we're doing this. We don't ignore it. We don't suppress it down. I acknowledge it, because if we suppress it, then we're not acknowledging, oh, wait, hey, we're starting to have these feelings. We're starting to have something come up. Because if something's coming up, we need to reassess, adjust, go into our tool. I call it a tool belt. And this financial thermostat and the masterclass is a way for you to have another tool in your tool belt. And by the way, y'all, I signed up for it before we started this, right before, because I want the tools in my tool belt. I will take all the tools I can get, okay? That's why I have a somatic coach, and I have music now that I can move energy out. I take all the tools I can get, because I know that it's a never ending process. Yes, the voice gets quieter. That was one key. And the second key that really stuck, and I really want people to make sure they're understanding, is when you start this and you say it out loud and he says, let it go, he doesn't mean it's going away forever and you're never going to have to worry about that old voice, old conversation ever again. That is not how this works. If it did, we'd both be out of jobs.
It's true. And this is such an important thing to emphasize, that conversation not going away, and just continuing to acknowledge it, own it, acknowledge it, and let it go. Don't fight it. Don't
Right.
suppress it, like you
Don't-
said, but
don't
also
fight
don't
it.
fight it
Don't
because
fight
it's
it.
part of our survival brain. And we can't beat a conversation in our fight with our survival brain. It will literally make you go unconscious. If you've ever been in a situation where you're having a conversation with somebody that you don't want to have, and you find yourself going like this, going on, that's your survival brain saying, dude, woman, you need to get out of this conversation because this is not what we want to talk about. And when we acknowledge it, when we own it, acknowledge it, and release it rather than fighting it, it kind of goes quiet. It goes back dormant again, and it allows us to get back to what it is we're doing. And the other thing is, when we create this new dynamic, like this new relationship to money, it's important while we continue to acknowledge and let go of that old conversation. What are you looking for now in your life? Are you watching for money and opportunities for money to show up in your life? Because oftentimes I'll have people come to me and say, well, I was doing it, but there's no money showing up. And I'll say, really? There's no money showing up at all anywhere? Well, I see money on the street, but I'm not touching that. I'm like, there you go. Right there. You just looked at the universe or God or whatever it is, putting money in front of you as you requested. And you said, no, I don't want that money because it's not the kind of money that I want or the amount of money that I want. And when we do that, we are creating more blocks in the flow. We're literally saying, no, it would be kind of like saying, I've got this great significant other. I love them so much, but their hands are ugly. And I never want to see their hands. They're ugly. Well, how do you think they're going to feel? They're not going to want to be around you because you don't love the whole. You don't love all the parts of the whole. You only want certain aspects of it. Doesn't work that way. And I love to relate our relationship to money to having a relationship with a significant other.
Mm-hmm.
If you treated a significant other the way most people treat money, you would not have a relationship for very long. You demand that it's there when you want, if at all, exactly. You want it to be there when you want it. You want to just drag it around and show it off to everybody. And then when it's not around, you don't think about it. You don't pay attention to it. You are upset because it doesn't provide you with everything that you want or expect. Our relationship would be gone in a heartbeat. But what if every time money showed up, you celebrated it, you appreciated it, you cherished it, you said thank you for it? What if when it wasn't there, you were thinking about, how can I improve this relationship? How can I make it better? How can I expand it so that it is better every single time? That would be an extraordinary relationship. And that person would want to be around you all the time. You would never take it for granted. You would never demand anything from it. That's how we that's how we want to relate to money if we want to have a really empowering relationship with money. So think about how you relate to money and then correlate it to how you relate to a significant other. You may find that you're not treating your significant other the way you might want to treat them if you want to have a really amazing relationship.
Yeah, very much so. And I also correlate it to a relationship because I say it time and time again. If we treat each other like crap, if someone, and this was said to me when I went down my journey, if someone treated you like utter shit, would you keep coming and coming back? No. Then why would money?
Right.
And I was like, but I don't treat money like crap. Do you say thank you when you get money? Do you say thank you when you spend money? And my comment, and everyone who listens to my show will know because I've said this on several episodes, why in the hell would I say thank you for paying a light bill? I said it. I am one of those ones that went, why would I didn't hate it, but why would I say thank you? And I didn't realize I had that block of going out because for so long I struggled to pay bills because, again, if you read my bio, if you don't, I was on food stamps. I struggled to pay bills. So and had to go to family to get money to pay bills, right? So if I was saying, like, why would I say thank you to that, right? It was not always around. And the key is, but I have it now. I can pay it now. And I still do it to this day, even when things are tight, even if there's a rough period in the business. Anytime I pay something, anytime money comes in, I say thank you. I'm not saying thank you to the money. Okay. For the record, I am not saying thank you to the money. I'm saying thank you to God, source, universe, whoever up there greater than me. Thank you for bringing me receiving the money, and thank you for having it in order to pay this. And it's true. My daughter laughs. She now does it too, but we saw, I think it was a dime on the street, and we were walking from the grocery store, and I said, "There's a dime." And they're like, "And pick it up." I said, "Pick it up." I picked it up, said, "Thank you," put it in my pocket. And she was like, "Why?" I said, "I asked for more money to show up. That's money. I don't care if it's a dime or a dollar bill or a $50 bill. Pick it up and put it in my pocket." And you're right. It's the simple thing. How many times do we walk by and see a dime or quarter and walk by? But I guarantee if there's a $50 bill laying on that street, someone would have picked it up, because you're talking about not being exactly what we want. And
Right.
so we need to be able to recognize our relationship. And again, like he said, own it, let it go, and then create your new relationship. And just because that conversation, the new conversation has been created, doesn't mean that that old relationship is going to go away. Because again, it's your inner nervous system, it's your security, whatever you want to call it. It's that protection. And that part of your brain thinks it's protecting you from something that's dangerous. It doesn't understand the difference because of all this past generational stuff, right? So I want to know, because I know the answer to this, but I'm still going to ask. Can your financial thermostat affect or impact your happiness, your business? We already know it can impact relationships, but how does it impact? One, how does it impact it? And one, can it? And if it can, how does it impact it?
The answer is yes, absolutely, 100%. As I said earlier, it determines how much money you can earn, how much money you can keep, as well as your thoughts, feelings, and emotions around money. So you can be someone whose financial thermostat is set to make lots of money, to keep lots of money, but you still never have a sense of satisfaction or fulfillment, or you're always stressed and worried about money. You never have a sense of joy and happiness in your life. Well, what's the point in having all that money if those are the kinds of emotions that you have? I've worked with literally certified billionaires, and they are miserable. They're miserable.
I call that them being rich and not wealthy.
Exactly. They've missed the whole point, or the whole opportunity, the whole blessing of it. And I've worked with people on the opposite side of the coin as well, where they have very little money, and yet they have such a sense of joy, happiness, and satisfaction in their life. There's no stress, there's no anxiety, there's no worry. I went to Thailand last year, and it was truly extraordinary to be in a culture where they have this sense of enough. They have this extraordinary ability to go out every single day, and they know, I just need this much today. I need to earn this much today, and it's enough. That's all I need. And they have such a happiness and a joy and satisfaction, almost a sense of bliss. And if we could bring that into our own lives and really start to get clear, and this is where people get tripped up. They think, okay, I want to manifest money. I want to manifest money. I want to manifest money. And I don't have it right now, but I want to get there. And they're struggling and suffering right now in the present because they're not where they want to be. Well, that is an absolute block in the flow of money. You're not going to be able to get where you want to get if you can't feel right now what it would feel like when you are actually there. This is Abraham Hicks in a nutshell. This is what that law of attraction is all about. If you could actually feel right now that sense of joy and satisfaction, that sense of absolute fulfillment right now, no matter what's going on in your life right now. Imagine what it will be like with that feeling now when you do get the money. It'll be like icing on the cake, because at the end of the day, that's what we all want. We want the money so that we can feel good. And the bottom line is that money is not going to make you feel good. That money is not going to bring you joy. It's not going to bring you happiness. It's not going to bring you love. It's not going to bring you a sense of security. People think that that's what money will provide, and it won't. And I've worked with people over and over and over and over again. They think, well, if I just make this amount of money, I'll be happy. We get there and they're like, no, maybe it's this amount of money. And they're in that hamster wheel.
Right. Because they need because they need more, because they haven't got that block, because they still feel broke. And
Correct.
Money is a tool, so it can provide security, etc. But that's only if you work on owning it, letting it go, creating the new relationship, doing that mindset, financial thermostat, doing that part, because otherwise it doesn't mean anything. You're still going to be, and I love the fact that you use the same analogy I do. I call it a hamster wheel. You're on there and you're just spinning and you're going absolutely nowhere. Or, show my age, I call it the never ending merry-go-round. So you might know those metal merry-go-rounds in the parks, because most states have outlawed them, okay? Where your kids are all lined out. We run as fast as we can and we jump on them. And in the middle of the summer, those things are hot as all fire. And you got to make sure you jump and land right so you don't get caught or land under it, which is why they've been outlawed in most of the states. See, this shows my age. See, back in then, we were some dangerous bunch of people, okay? Dangerous bunch of people. And the caveat to that is we went to Seattle, and my youngest, Mom, what's that thing that's going? They had a metal merry-go-round. Y'all. I was like, OMG. So I explained to her what it was, and I explained to her, I said, here's the thing. You are not going to make the same mistake I made. You are not allowed to run and jump because you've never had it. If there's a couple of people who are running and jumping, you sit on it. You do not hang off of it like we used to. She's like, hang off of it. I was like, no head going like this. Arms, feet, and everything is on it. I said, because trust me, when you get off of it, you'll be dizzy. It's a given. She loved that thing, okay? And it was pure bliss for me to watch, because we don't have one here in South Carolina. They've done away with all of them. To see that and her have the bliss. But that's when I came back and I was like, imagine a never-ending merry-go-round or a hamster wheel, because it goes nowhere. And you just get off dizzy and not able to walk or think or anything. That's what we're talking about when we say that this is what you're doing when you're not doing the work, and or when you want a quick fix is what I call it. People want, okay, I want to know how I can manifest this. I want the conversation to go away. The new conversation, boom, everything's done. That's not how this works. Same thing with fitness, right? You're not going to go lift weights for 1 month, be strong as all get out, have all the muscles you've ever wanted, and never have to work out again. Trust me, I would be one happy camper if that was true. And I'm 7 years into doing the fitness and doing the weights with a trainer, and she knows I'd be one happy camper if that was true. It's not, and neither is this. So I love the fact that I seriously am going to use that terminology now, the financial thermostat. I mean, literally, that I love, because I think that it, like you said, it makes sense. It correlates to something we understand. Because when we say money mindset, they're like, there's nothing wrong with my mind. No, there's not. And however, your relationship with money, and then people are like, money is not a person. I don't want to have a relationship with it. They're like, how am I supposed? Okay, look, I love having money. That does not mean I have a, what do you call it, hardcore relationship with money. Okay. However, it's a tool and I know that it helps provide. I know that it'll make things easier. It'll make things easier for my oldest, who is autistic. It'll make things easier for me to make sure she's provided for. It will make things easier for me to make an impact. So therefore, I have a good relationship with money, or a also known as I have tweaked my financial thermostat. Does it need to be tweaked every now and again? Yes, which is what he was talking about, that continuous conversation. Can you tell them about your free offer? I know it's the masterclass, but just tell them a little bit about it, because I think that this is just really, really important, because in that financial thermostat, when you're working on that and you're looking at how you're managing your money, there's so much that you're going to be able to accomplish. Things are going to become easier, and you're going to be able to be truly wealthy, as what I call it. Like he said, you have multiple 7-figure business owners who are miserable, and it's because they miss that mark on being aligned with their values, their goals, and their desires, and making sure they have that financial thermostat. Oh, am I doing things that make me happy? Am I doing the things with this money that is going to provide and make the impact I want to make, and do the things that I desire to do? That's the key. Because otherwise, I mean, here, y'all, you can't take it to the grave with you. You can't. It's not possible. How many people are like, I'm saving it? Okay, well, save some of it, yes, and do good with it, and make sure, live. Don't be miserable, because then again, at the same time, what's the point?
Well, there are a lot of people that live their lives like that. The blocks they have in the flow is one, I can only have a lot of money if I promise to do good with it. But oftentimes people will say, if I made a lot of money, I'd immediately give some to charity. I'm like, why? Well, that's just what everybody says. It's not coming from here. It's just, well, that's what I think I need to do. And that's because they've got a block in the flow of money. Like, if you have a lot of money, you've got to be charitable. No, if you have a lot of money, do with that money what you choose to do with it, but do it from a place of being consistent with who you truly are. Who are you in the world? What do you want your legacy to be? How do you want people to relate to you and to know you? That's what you want to do with money. Money is not evil. Money is not good. It's just money.
It's a tool.
It will amplify elements of our personality that we choose to let it amplify, which is why we see some people who become horrible people when they make a lot of money. That personality simply got amplified, and they allowed it to happen. Not money. It just, they allowed it to happen. And other people become much more philanthropic, much more generous, much kinder. I mean, look at somebody like Dolly Parton. You know, she's a billionaire, and she's extraordinary in the way she gives back to the community, not just by giving money, but by donating her time to go read books to kids. Are you being consistent with who you want to be in your life? And you talked earlier about generational money mindsets, and that is absolutely something that will happen. We don't even realize that this money mindset that I have was passed down from my parents, from their parents, back and back and back. And now I'm ready to shift that. I'm going to break that cycle and reset my financial thermostat to a place where I'm happy, where it's what I want. Now, going back to your question, I created my masterclass, The 4 Keys to Resetting Your Financial Thermostat, because I wanted to give something away to people. It's an opportunity for people to really take a deep dive. I think it's 27 minutes. And if you're someone who just said, 27 minutes is a long time, you're not ready for this conversation. It's not for you. And I don't mean that as a judgment or a bad thing. You have to be in a place where you're ready to look at yourself, you're willing to look at your relationship to money and the world around you in order to have the kind of wealth that you truly want, the wealth and prosperity that you want. And when I use the word wealth and prosperity, I don't mean millionaire. I mean somebody who has the experience of being wealthy, of being prosperous right now in your life. And if that's who you are, it's a free masterclass. All you do is enter your email and you can immediately log onto it and watch it. It is the 4 keys to resetting your financial thermostat. It's all you need in order to move from where you are now to a new setting, both in terms of how much money you earn, how much money you keep, and your thoughts, feelings, and emotions around money. So if you're interested in that, if that's the conversation you're in, take advantage of it. It's why I created it. And the last caveat that I'll put out there is not everything works for everyone. If you're thinking about working with a coach and that coach says, I'm the only one that can help you, I have the answer for everyone, turn and run. They are not the person for you.
Run.
Because there is no right answer for everyone. There is the right answer for you.
That's right.
Find the person that resonates with you. Find the thing that works for you. For some people, it's meditation. For others, it's not. Don't feel like, I got to make meditation work. No, you don't. You want to find the thing that works for you, that inspires you, that lights you up. And then the last bit is that thing may work for you for a period of time, and then it no longer floats your boat. Move on to something else. Don't be afraid of that, because it's not that this is the right answer for the rest of my life. No, this is the right answer right now. And then I get to that place all the time. I used to meditate all the time, every single day. Loved it. It was amazing. And then one morning I woke up and I'm like, I don't feel like meditating anymore. And I stopped and I found something else. But I'm always looking at what's the thing that sources me, that supports me. Find that thing for yourself. Grab a hold of it as long as it continues to work for you. And when it's not, release it and let it go, and then find the next thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And and here's the thing, just to reiterate, recenter around what I really want you to get from this episode is, and I've said this all the time, if anybody ever tells you it's only this way and they're the only person, you need to run, period. I tell people all the time, I have a coach. I have a coach that I am always working on my mindset. And if you have someone who's not always working on their mindset, they have a coach, they don't have a mentor, they don't have someone that they are learning from to always have these things, again, turn around and run. Because your mindset's not your financial thermostat. That mindset is not something you're going to just stop working on. It's not how it works. And I don't meditate. And there was someone, and I have a hard time journaling. And people are like, oh, you just need to journal and get the stuff out. And I'm one of these ones like, y'all, you are not understanding and comprehending what I am telling you. Once I get in my head, there is no journaling. It's too late. The shit's in my head and it's stuck. I can look at a blank sheet of paper and nothing comes out. And my coach, one of my mentors, she made a comment and she said, when I get in my head, what I find is sometimes I have to move. She said, I put music on and I move my body however I need to. If it's anger, she said, it's stomping my feet, whatever. Just move the energy out. And then I'm able to sit down and journal later, or I may decide I want to read. So that's the key. And I like, wait, what? Tell me more. And I did what you're talking about. I grabbed onto it. The key is to have a few things. You may decide you don't like meditating right now, and you may decide later you want meditating, or you may decide you have 3 things that sometimes work. Okay. Again, reason why I signed up for a masterclass. That's another tool in my tool belt, so that 1, I'm always learning, and 2, it's something else that can help me, and it may help me now, and then I may need it again in 6 months to go listen to it again. Guess what? I have it. So there's this thing of it's only one way, and then if it's not working, oh, something must be wrong with me. No, that's not it. And I know because I used to feel that way. Especially when I started up leveling and the things in my tool belt were no longer working. And I was getting quite aggravated. Okay. And that was when, maybe it's because you need new tools because you're at a different level. And what you had got you here, but it's not going to get you here. And that's why you've got this ceiling. And as soon as I started bringing in these new tools, things started moving a little bit. And so just be open to what that could be. I've started using essential oils along with the moving because I like some of the smells and I love lighting candles to relax me. Okay, well, if I've had a hard day, I've made that part of my movement. Lighting a candle, this a vanilla candle, is very softly scented, and it lets my brain know, okay, it is time to reset. It is time to move this energy out so that we can have a peaceful sleep, wake up the next day ready to charge and stay in that positive, abundant mindset, which is really key because y'all, life happens. I say this over and over again. Life happens, and sometimes when it happens, that little voice is going to pop back up. So just know
Usually
that
that's
there's
when it takes advantage, is when we're at our
right.
weakest. We've got something
Uh,
that just happened and we're kind of like, oh, I'm dealing with it. And then that little voice takes advantage and jumps right in. See, you got
yes.
to go back to this old. And that's when you just got to get your resolve together. Like, oh, yeah, I see you. You're trying to take advantage of me. No, that's not what's happening now. I'm going to let you go again because this is who I am in life right now. I
Y'all,
am a new person. And remember, guys, we're on a journey up a mountain. And as Lisa Marie was saying, the tools we need at the bottom of the mountain, at the base, are not the same tools that we're going to need when we start getting halfway up and then further up and further up. So you want to be open to expanding and changing and using new tools because that's going to serve you when you get to another plateau. And you're like, okay, I've been at this place. Look, when I'm working out with my trainer and I get to a plateau, he's like, okay, we're going to go and we're going to do this exercise now. I'm like, why are we changing? It's because we need to go to the next level. Understand that this is a process and a breakdown. If we have a breakdown up here, doesn't mean you're all the way back down here. No, you're having a breakdown at a new level in your life. Understand that all of the transformation, all of the work, all of the journey does not get undone because we made a mistake or we had a breakdown. No, we're having it at a higher level. Own that. Own that. No, I'm way more transformed now. I'm way more powerful now than I was. And the way I'm going to manage this breakdown is completely different than I would if I was way back down here or way back down here. So own that growth that you've taken. Never let anyone take it away from you.
yes, absolutely. And sometimes you're not going to really see it at first that, oh, it's not knocked you down because it recently happened to me and I immediately had that little voice comes up and says, see, you're way down here. And it wasn't because I went back and I reflected and, I had that conversation. I was like, nope, this is how we do it. And I had a conversation with my coach and I said, I said, a year and a half ago, if this would have happened, I would have ended up doing this, this, and this, and I would have stayed here. And instead, this is what I did. And their comment was, see, you're at a new level. So yes, you may have a breakdown, but it's because you're up leveling and you're at this new level. And again, you need to look and see, okay, these tools aren't going to work alone by themselves anymore. You could combine them with something else or let them go and get new ones. But being able to recognize it so that you have tools that you're putting in there because then otherwise you're going to stay stuck right there and you don't want to and you don't want to go backwards, so you want to make sure you have those things. Thank you so much for being on my show. Like I could have a conversation with him for another hour. Okay, there's not many people I can say that with, but I absolutely love this. I love where it went, and I want you to realize that you have to do the work. You can't just manifest and say, okay, I want this, and it just happen. That's not how that works. It's not how that works. And I truly appreciate you coming on the show and being with me and being with here for my listeners and sharing your expertise and having the conversation. And my sassy friend, I appreciate you listening. And remember, until next time, stay sassy. Bye.
Thanks for joining us this week on Cash and Sass. Check us out on social media and on our website at www.thesassywealthcoach.com, where you can download my free Money Story Start Guide. The website again is www.thesassywealthcoach.com. And as always, subscribe to the show to catch every new episode and leave us a review so we can continue to bring you fresh content. And remember, yes, it is possible to have sassy and sexy money. See you next week.